Yeah, but going after them made no sense. But I get it. Allows the movie to continue, not end.
Yep, correct.
If I was being chased by Leatherface and then I seduced him by letting him touch my inner thigh and give him come hither eyes, biting my lip as he's revving his chainsaw, and he let me live, I'd be like, phew, well, that's that. Sorry, LG. Sucks to be you.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared.
Damn!
And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast, and we are on our way to Halloween. And
My favorite time of the year.
Yeah, movie-wise.
Life-wise.
Oh, okay. I'm more of a Christmas person, but I do love Halloween. Actually, you get time off, and yeah, I like all of them. Easter. Easter's probably not my favorite.
I mean, anything with chocolate makes me feel good, so.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anyways, our first movie on our road to Halloween is actually almost all our movies on the road to Halloween are sequels, almost all of them. And the first sequel we're watching is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. What do you remember about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
Almost nothing, because I am convinced. Honestly, I actually had a moment with myself where I was like, have I even seen this movie? Like, my brain says yes, but my heart says no. I'm like, you've seen it. I know you've seen it, but I don't remember anything about it. But it's funny because I saw some images and I saw an image of Grandpa Sawyer and I was like, wait, that looks really, really familiar.
He's the one from number 1.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I've seen this, but I don't remember it at all. And I'm convinced that my brain just blocks all Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies.
Well, it was directed by Tobe Hooper. I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The first one I ever watched was number 3, then number 2, then number 1. And there was a stark difference between the two because number 2 is, I remember, being much different than number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Dennis Hopper being in this one, being a complete lunatic. And this one was more funny, which when you watch this one and then watch the first one, and you're like, oh, this is different. Because we watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I think we both said buy it.
Yes.
And it is one of the most unsettling. Like, it's right up there with Black Christmas. Is it Black Christmas?
Oh, yeah. Black Christmas.
Yeah. Where it just gets right under your skin.
Christmas.
Yeah, the OG one from the 70s.
Yeah.
And it just gets under your skin and it's disturbing. And it's like, yeah, it's just creepy. This one, I remember being gorier, but not as scary, not as creepy and unsettling as the first one.
This one doesn't give me like unsettled or uncomfortable vibes.
Yeah.
Like that was, because when you hear the title of a movie, you have like an initial reaction to it. This one, just kind of my initial reaction was ew.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it was much gorier and much grosser. I'm convinced my brain has blocked this from me. Like it refuses to give me memories of this movie.
Yeah. Like I don't think I'll have any problems watching. I watched the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I believe everyone was out of the house and I watched it and I turned up the thing and I did not like watching it alone. It bothered me.
But this one you're thinking.
But this one I'm thinking this one is fine.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, let's go to the box office. Released on August 22nd, 1986. Why this was not released in October, I do not know, but who am
We
I?
will never understand.
Yeah, with a budget of $4.7 million, it came in at just over $8 million. But again, would have had a very small marketing. It probably made money.
Yeah.
It obviously did because they made a couple more Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies since then. I think,
Yeah,
what, seven or eight more?
Yeah.
All right. It opened in fifth place with 2.8 million behind The Fly in its second week, Stand By Me in its third week, Aliens in its sixth week, and Top Gun in its 15th week. By its second weekend, though, it dropped to 11th place. It was able to stay in a handful of theaters for 16 more weeks and finish its theatrical run.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That amount of
And
money in that many weeks.
there is our Blu-ray collector's edition there. It looks insane.
Yeah.
All right. Let us go to the tail of the tape. August 22nd, 1986. There's our VHS copy. Rated R. It's considered a horror comedy
Interesting.
and comes in at a lengthy 1 hour and 40 minutes. I hope it's good
Me too.
because nothing sucks in a horror movie that's long.
Oh God.
That's disturbing.
That's
When I saw-
incredibly disturbing.
That's Chop Top. For those listening, when we have this on YouTube, we have pictures to go along with it. There's a picture of Chop Top, and yeah, he looks insane.
Yeah. Huh?
Taglines. After a decade of silence, the buzz is back.
I mean, not bad.
That's it.
That's it. So they definitely made a profit on this because if that was all they came up with.
Yeah, that was not a lot in marketing.
Yeah, no.
All right. Here's the synopsis. Chainsaw wielding maniac Leatherface Bill Johnson is up to his cannibalistic ways once again, along with the rest of his twisted clan, including the equally disturbed Chop Top, Bill Mosley. This time, the masked killer has set his sights on a pretty disc jockey, Vanita Stretch Brock, Caroline Williams. That she sounds really familiar too. I think she's been in quite a few things. Who teams up with Texas lawman Lefty On Right, Dennis Hopper. I love Dennis Hopper. To battle the psychopath and his family deep within their lair, a macabre abandoned amusement park. That would sell me as a kid. Actually, just the Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. I would want to watch this as a kid, and I did.
Sorry, so Caroline Williams was in the Legend of Billie Jean, which is probably where I would recognize her from.
This movie.
Halloween 2, but the 2009 one.
Oh, okay.
Days of Thunder.
I remember liking Days of Thunder. That's the car one, right? NASCAR?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was also in Leprechaun 3.
Oh, we haven't watched that. We watched 1 and 2.
We watched 1 and 2, but we did not watch 3. She was also in The Stepfather 2 from 1989. And apparently she was in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good for her.
And in 10 Minutes to Midnight, which came out in 2020. I have not seen that movie.
I have not seen that either. Well, here's the poster. Just so dumb. Anyways, and there is a trivia thing. If you take a look at it, it's after a decade of silence, the buzz is back. It has the whole clan sitting there. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It looks stupid. It was 1986. It was based on the 1985 movie, The Breakfast Club. And if you look at the Breakfast Club movie poster, that's kind of what they did.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Correct.
This is an iconic poster because I remember it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you were a kid and you went into the video stores, I would beeline right to the horror movies. And just to look at the covers and see. I was never allowed to rent them when I was young, but all right, here are some other posters. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre one where he's going through a door.
Mm-hmm.
The one in the middle is a DVD cover, which looks much better.
Yeah.
And the Blu-ray Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which again looks much. Any of these would have been better than the other one.
Oh, 100%.
All right. Well, let's go to Rotten Tomatoes. 32 critics come in at 50%. So it's 50-50. 50,000 audience members comes at 46%. Pretty close.
That's higher than I thought.
Yeah. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 shocks with gonzo blend of over-the-top humor and gore, but without the tense atmosphere of its predecessor, the stakes feel lower. I think a lot of people went in expecting Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they got something completely different.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with the fresh. You may go.
If you don't want your Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies to end with a chainsaw fight, you should get checked out. Mitchell Beaupre, Pace Magazine, 6.5 out of 10.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 works because it's a complete original. You never know from minute to minute where it's going to go, and that unpredictability keeps you riveted for every single second. Mike McGranigan, ILC 3.5 out of 4.
A good deal gorier and more disturbing than the original. Certainly, it's far better than the soulless 2003 remake. Jeffrey M. Anderson, Combustible Celluloid.
Did you like the 2003 remake?
No, not really.
No. Okay. A ripe and wicked horror comedy. As black as pitch and every bit as violent as naysayers mistakenly accused the first film of being. Yeah, that's right. Everyone said it was so, but it had hardly any gore in it.
Yeah.
And it still creeped me the fuck out. Dustin Putman. Go ahead.
It was a creepy movie, not a gross movie.
Yeah, exactly. Thefilmfile.com, original score 3.5 out of 4.
Irresistibly Demented. Nick Shager, Lessons of Darkness, B+.
Nothing says subversive like a good horror film, and Toby Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is as subversive as they come. Ken Hankey, Mountain Express, 4.5 out of 5.
He really didn't want you to say that.
No. Not at all.
He was writing this review and he was like, I'm gonna fuck Jimmy up.
Yeah. Give him all the tough words because he's a moron.
Gratuitously violent and none too subtle, it lacks the subversive qualities of the original. It's also undeniably funny, maniacally energetic fare with a liberal smattering of enjoyable set pieces. Jason Wood, BBC.com, 3 out of 5. Jason, that's a lot of fucking words.
Yeah. All right, Rotten. I will start. The Chainsaw Brood has become bumbling, incompetent, and laughable, focused intently on sudden scenes of intense brutality rather than the careful building of dread. Mike Massey, Gone with the Twins, 2 out of 10.
That's harsh. An entity of evil in the excellent original, Leatherface is transformed into a buffoon in this ham-fisted outing, to the point that Jerry Lewis should have been cast in the role. Matt Brunson, Creative Loafing, 1.5 out of 4. Damn, Matt.
Wow. Sure, there's a lot more gore and some chainsaw violence paying off for what wasn't seen in its predecessor, but this leaves a lot to be desired when all is said and done. Kevin Carr, 7M Pictures, 2 out of 5.
The film feels as if Hooper himself has nothing but contempt for the original and went out of his way to tear it down. TV Guide, 0 out of 4.
Wow. The most tedious crap fest I've sat through in a while. Annoying characters who never shut up. Even some amusing moments with Hopper. Can't save it. Brian McKay, efilmcritic.com, 1 out of 5.
Did I say Hooper in the last one?
No, the Dennis Hopper, and you said Toby Hooper. That's right. Yeah.
I lost my mind. It was like, did I say Hooper? Anyways, no matter how adeptly Chainsaw 2 was put together, it would remain just another exploitation flick for fans who get a tingle from watching blades slash into flesh and innards peep out. Walter Goodman, New York Times, 2 out of 5. That was almost musical.
Yeah.
That review. Go ahead, Walter.
Part 2 has a lot of blood and disembowelment, to be sure, but it doesn't have the terror of the original. The desire to be taken seriously. It's a geek show. Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times, 1 out of 4. I think Toby Hooper was trying to make something. I don't think he wanted to make the same movie. I think he wanted something, and it backfired on him. And everyone hated him. Well, half the people.
I think he had a different vision, and I don't think he achieved that vision.
Yeah. Internet Movie Database has 39,000 user ratings, coming at 5.6 out of 10. All right. Well, you may
It's on
start.
par. Misunderstood masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Slain monkey.
Excellent film about family values. 9 out of 10. Birdsall 442-457-161. Why do they put these stupid numbers?
Although not the serious sequel we were expecting, but it is entertaining for a messy sequel. 8 out of 10. Hughes 675.
While an almost complete tonal 180 from the first film, Toby Hooper gives us a bloody entertainment time with Viscera. Oh, hold
That
on.
is correct.
Sorry. Gives us a bloody entertainment time with Viscera and laughs galore. 7 out of 10. Ionic Breeze Machine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. A loud, hyped up, hectic, gory mess, but still entertaining. 6 out of 10. Cap Kronos.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre on crack. 5 out of 10. Mr. Garrett.
Oh, Mr. Garrett. Texas Chainsaw 2. How to Ruin a Franchise. 4 out of 10. Quentin Morton 70401.
The guy that did the original now brings me this. 3 out of 10. Stamper.
I still have a headache. Loud, noisy, obnoxious, irritating, and psychotic. That's how I describe this movie. It was headache inducing, mind boggling, and brain scrambling. View and review. And then we have a runner up. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Junior Wood, too. Or J.R. Wood. Well,
That's the only one that played with the title.
yeah.
This was a mistake. 1 out of 10. The Shadow 908. Oh, and just because. I'll do it. Oh, you go on, do it?
I got this.
Okay.
I got
All
this.
right.
Gave me cancer. I wish I knew who my real father was. My stepdad, Terry, just beats me and calls me gay. 1 out of 10. John Grady, 987-9114.
I read that and I'm like, what? My stepdad Terry just beats me and calls me gay. I wish I knew my real father was.
The best is it gave me cancer.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes just reading the reviews are awesome. This one made me giggle for a while.
John Grady, do you need a hug?
Poor John Grady.
Oh, he's having a time.
All right. So there's definitely a running theme. We have a split between almost everybody, the audience and the critics. Some people like the direction he took it. Some people really did not, especially John Grady.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's watch the trailer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 and then make a prediction.
Years ago, audiences across America were horrified by the savagery of a faceless killer. In the wake of this bizarre rampage, he vanished. Now, after more than a decade of silence, he has come out of hiding. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. The Buzz is back. Directed by Toby Hooper.
Really didn't give you a lot, eh?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't give you a lot. But
all right,
it
what's your
definitely gives you.
prediction?
I don't think I'm going to like this at all. I think that's why my brain blocked it from me. Because I watched that and I was like, oh man, I'm going to hate this. I have a feeling I'm going to hate this. What about you?
I don't know. The first one was so creepy, and this one looks like, well, it's gonna be more gorier. There's gonna be more humor to it. I hope it's good. I don't think I am going to. After just recently watching it not too long ago, the first one was so good.
Yeah.
Like, so creepily good. Like, I think that one and Black Christmas are two movies that really were better than I remembered.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
But I am going to go. I'm not going in this thinking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. I'm looking for gory and funny. So hopefully it can.
Hopefully it delivers.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to go watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. And when we come back, we are going to review it.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
Ooh, wasn't that scary, kids?
Fuck no, it wasn't.
I'm still feeling when the cook got the chainsaw in the ass.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus Christ, that looked painful. Did you watch the 1986 horror sequel to arguably one of the greatest horror movies of all time? Let me be clear. I am not talking about this movie. I'm talking about the original movie.
Yes, I did watch it.
Your initial thoughts?
It was interesting. Okay, I'm going to say this because I realized this about halfway through. I was like, this is not a horror movie. This is just a gross comedy. Like it's not actually scary. There is no suspense. There's a lot of discomfort because ew.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of moments where I was just like, oh God, ew. But other than that, like it wasn't somebody had problems with pacing and they just didn't understand how to pace out a movie. And also Vanita Stretch, whatever her name. Yeah, her. She needed to stop fucking screaming.
Yeah, she got her lungs got a workout.
I was like, that poor woman probably lost her voice.
Sexy. She was sexy, but I'm like, bitch, you gotta be quiet
super hottie. Super hottie. But
they're gonna find you. You scream a lot.
Like just top of her lungs constantly. I was like, girl, quiet.
Yeah. Nah, I did not hate it. I'm with kind of the middling IMDb reviews here. A total tonal shift.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. But when not compared to the original, it is a gory horror movie. It is not a standout. It has some good parts, performances. I like Chop Top. He was Beetlejuice. Like where we did Beetlejuice, and Michael Keaton even said that he based Beetlejuice on this performance by Bill Moseley. And you could really, really see it. I couldn't get it on my head as I was watching it. The monologue by the cook, Drayton, at the end about maybe packing it in and giving it. That part was great. We'll get to that. And I can't hate a chainsaw movie. As another review pointed out, where the hero and the villain square off with dueling chainsaws, like some sort of horror Star Wars bastardization. Yeah,
there's so much in this movie.
And I did make a note too. While a great screamer, and she wasn't above average actress, like compared to the first movie, the acting is better in this movie.
Yeah,
but it was nowhere near.
They did not give them enough to work with.
No, he's like, I'll give you a gore, or he didn't have the money for the gore, and this time he did, and he really.
Well, there was like I'm like, I can see where you spent the money, and when we were like, nah, we're saving it for when we skin him alive. Yeah, so it's like you see that, and I also like I didn't hate the movie. I didn't think it was good, but I didn't hate it. Like there were a lot of times where I was like, oh God. And then, like sometimes stuff just goes on for a little too long. And you're like, all right, yes, I get it. But it wasn't terrible.
No, for the most part, I enjoyed myself. Sometimes I was wondering what the fuck was going on.
I mean, true.
And because I did not remember a whole lot from this movie, but it was actually crazy. Like Yeah,
Oh.
Toby Hooper really wanted to do something different, and he accomplished that.
Oh boy, did he ever. This movie was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go over this movie. And this is a pretty straightforward story. Much like the original, not a lot happens between getting from A to B.
Mm-hmm.
There is some trivia I uncovered that might make me even want to buy a movie or look for it, but you have to stay tuned or download the trivia bonus if you're listening to the podcast and not watching the YouTube. But yeah, it's a straightforward story is my point.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay. Yeah. Two high school seniors, Buzz and Rick, and not as bad as the 70s where every teenager looked like a 40-year-old dad. These guys were not looking like seniors. They were 80s. Let's hire some 28-year-olds to play the part of teens. Yeah,
Yes.
they look like that. They race along a desolate stretch of Texas highway en route to the Texas OU football game at the Dallas Cotton Bowl and harass a pickup truck along the way. Heavily intoxicated, they use their car phone to call and harass on-air radio DJ Vanita Stretch Brock. Unable to convince them to hang up, Stretch is forced to keep the line open. This was an actual thing back in the day.
Was it?
Yeah, I have a story because both parties had to disconnect. I had a cousin who she would call and we would talk. We were really young, stupid stuff, kid stuff. But one time we were talking and I got called for dinner. I went for dinner. I played in my room. I think I even watched a TV show. I decided because she's like, call me back. Make sure you call me back. And then I went to call her back. I picked up the phone and there was nothing there. I'm like, hello? And she starts laughing. And I'm like, did you not hang up? And she's pissing herself. I'm like, that was almost like 3 hours ago. What have you been doing? She's like,
oh my God.
I've been waiting for you to come back on the phone. But yeah, back in the day, if both things didn't, sometimes it did disconnect, but sometimes it kept the connection.
Well, see, because I was trying to remember, back to when I was a child and we had one of those phones. Actually, we had the copper landline up until this year. And then we finally got rid of it. Yeah, because Bell was like, we're not going to support these anymore. And we're like, oh shit, we actually have to change it.
Yeah.
Then I went through a traumatic saga with Bell, but that's a different conversation. But anyways, I was like, I'm pretty sure one of you hangs up and it disconnects the line. But now that you said this, maybe it happens in places that are less populated.
Could be, yeah, because I was pretty rural.
Yeah, well, back then it would actually go through not just one switchboard, but it went through a switch.
Yeah.
So I guess depending on where you were and what kind of switch they had, you probably still had them when, like the operators had to actually plug them in and connect you. And they just mildly updated those, whereas in Toronto you can get away with that.
Yeah. As the two pass the same pickup truck, Leatherface emerges from the back of the truck and rips up the roof using his chainsaw. Rick tries shooting Leatherface with his revolver, but Leatherface kills Buzz. The car crashes, killing Rick. I think Rick was murdered after the crash. Don't they hear him kind of...
Rick the Prick was murdered after the crash because he was still alive while it was happening.
Yeah.
As soon as those guys appeared on screen, I was like, oh, preppy frat boys. Fantastic.
Yeah, they're going to die.
Rick the Prick, and I can always call him this, because within the first 30 seconds of him being on screen, I was like, I want you to die a horrible death. And I was cheated of that. I was cheated of that because we never actually see him die.
No, the driver.
The driver, yes.
Half his head sawed off.
Which was hilarious. Because you see it and it's kind of like on an angle, and then they go for a back shot, and then it's clean off, and it's just squirting blood. I started laughing so hard.
There was more blood in this first 10 minutes of this movie than the original had. I think, because I think that was one of the things. There was not a ton of blood in the original at all.
It was very, very minimal in the original.
Yeah.
And this one just came out of the gate and was like, blood, brain.
Here you go.
Done. Also Leatherface being behind marionetting a dead body. I was like, this feels weird and not very Leatherfacey.
It was Nubbin, and that was the brother from the first one who was the hitchhiker. That's why they kept him around.
Yeah.
I did not know that until I started looking at the trivia.
I appreciate you for that little piece of
Yeah.
information because I was like, this is
It was
weird.
still kind of out of character, but I guess it was
So,
supposed to
yeah.
be funny.
I think it was supposed to be funny, but I was like,
Haha.
why? Well, no, because I know it's Leatherface. So I'm like, why is Leatherface looking like that? This is very
Yeah.
confusing. Is this the direction they're going with? And then you see his, like, Leatherface's actual face pop up, and you're like, oh, he's wearing the dead body
Yeah.
and like marionetting, puppeteering it. And I was like, that's weird and icky. But also, it's super, like, it was a fine opening sequence.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
Fine.
It set the tone. It was not the
Yeah.
slow burn, creepy, gets creepier and creepier until your skin is almost
Yep.
crawling out of your body of the first one. This was straight violence to gore. Yeah.
Correct.
So
And
and
it
we
really does
kind of
with-
knew that.
With comedy thrown in there. Like, it was
Yeah.
supposed to be entertaining because we spend a lot of time with those two frat boys being
Yeah, we-
jackasses.
Yeah, quite a bit of time. Like,
Yeah.
think
And I was
they
like, I want
shared
you both to
15
die.
minutes.
Yeah, it was a lot. And this is where my pacing complaint comes in. Because I'm like, we got too much of the frat boys. Like, I understand what they were trying to do, but I'm like, you missed out on what you were trying to do. You just had to introduce them as assholes, have them call the radio station twice, then chop off their heads. Like, that's all you had to do. You didn't
Yeah.
need a full 15 minutes for that. You could have done it in 7.
I agree. And when we get to trivia, when we learn what they got rid of to keep this part is quite upsetting.
I'm going to be mad. Oh, God.
Yeah. Anyways, the following morning, Lieutenant Bode Lefty Onright, former Texas Ranger. Okay, this is where, and uncle of Sally and Franklin Hardesty, who were victims of Leatherface and his family years earlier, arrive at the scene of the crime to help solve Buzz and Rick's murder. I don't know if the movie fucked up because he's later on, and we'll get to it, he sees Franklin and calls him brother. And when
Yeah.
he sees Stretch, and he almost mistakes her and calls her sister.
Yeah.
Now, so the cop is there, the detective. He says, I know about your brother. And actually, in trivia says that they were half brother and half sister. So I don't know who's right and wrong. I believe that he's the uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was when
That's
he
what-
started saying sister, brother. I was like,
I got confused. I'm like, what?
is that right? I don't think that's right.
Or was he being like all
Or was it just like brother,
religious?
sister?
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's some of it talking about going to hell and God. And I was like, maybe that's
Yeah.
like,
Could have
maybe
been.
we're Southern Baptisting it. So maybe that's the angle they're going for. But it was a little bit confusing if you're not reading too much into it. Like, if you're really just listening to the words, you're like, that's wrong.
Yeah. What?
That makes no sense.
Lefty has spent the last 13 years looking into his nephew's disappearance. Yeah, see, this is nephew, so disappearance.
Yeah.
Investigating reports of mysterious chainsaw killings across Texas. He is contacted by Stretch, who brings him a copy of the audio tape that recorded the attack. He sends her away, leaving Stretch and her co-worker, L.G. Peters, to reluctantly cover the Texas-Oklahoma chili cook-off for the radio show. Yeah, the guy that he's actually looking for is
He's right
right
there.
there. And I like where she pulled out the tooth. She's like,
Yeah.
what is this? He's like, oh, that's a peppercorn.
Peppercorn. And I'm
And the
like,
chili looks so gross.
it
Ugh.
really did.
Yeah.
And then when they were like, it's the most, and she eats a bite of it, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, you
Don't
see
do
him,
that.
you know what's in the chili. It's
Yeah,
like, ugh.
exactly.
The winner of the cook-off happens to be Drayton Sawyer, the current patriarch of the cannibalistic Sawyer family, who declares that his secret is having an eye for prime meat.
Mm.
Meanwhile, Lefty shops for a chainsaw at a local hardware store. He at first unnerves, then amuses the shop owner with his brutal testing of the saws on a log. Yeah, the shop owner really started getting into it. He was like,
He
yeah,
really did, and it was
fuck
super
that piece of shit
uncomfortable.
log.
It was super uncomfortable, and I was like, it was bordering on like dirty creepy.
Yeah. It's like,
And I was like,
yeah, get it.
This
And
is
I'm like,
so
dude, what the
weird.
fuck that log ever do to you?
Apparently not enough.
No.
Yeah. Also, that entire chainsaw scene was just random and weird. Like, he just fans out the money.
Yeah, yeah, that was weird
And
too.
I was like, that's what? Doesn't say a word, picks out 3
Nope.
chainsaws, starts hacking up a log, and then chainsaw guy gets off on it. And it's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, this whole movie was weird.
This whole movie was so weird.
Lefty then drives to Stretch radio station and asks her to play the tape on her nightly radio show so that the public, which had previously mocked his case, will have to listen to him. Yeah, so the detective said that he would put a story in the paper, and it kind of made it look like he was a lunatic. She came, he didn't even want to hear it and sent her on her way. Like, something tells me there was more to what was written down than what was either filmed or edited.
They definitely edited something out, because when you see Lefty at his hotel, he looks like trash.
Yeah.
Like something happened and you never visit it. And you're like, okay, so there was the Lefty who was at the crime scene who looked well breasted, put together, healthy.
Yeah.
And then there's the one that
down.
Yeah, like on point. And then there's the one that's in the hotel room that does not look like any of those things. And
No,
I was like, he
it's
looked
almost as if
sick.
he started out and then a month later he's gotten nowhere and this is what he looks like.
Yeah.
And this just happened within a day.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck kind of night did you have that you ended up looking
Lefty,
like that?
You're
And then
giving
I
up
was like,
too soon.
I was like, was that on purpose? Like, did they go that hard on purpose? Because it doesn't sync up with the previous scene. So you end up feeling very I'm like, we're missing something. And it makes me mad that we're missing something.
All right, let's go. Driving home from his chili cook-off victory with his family, Drayton is called by Chop Top about the tape being broadcast. So he sends him and Leatherface to the radio station. Okay, this actually triggered an event from my childhood. I forgot all about this. A friend of mine, Kevin, had seen this on video well after it came out. But we were in public school. We were quite young. But the line where Drayton, or the cook, yells at them in the car and he calls them a fudge packers, this was Kevin's catchphrase for the entire year. Like, he loved this phrase. You could pull out the wrong drinking box, like fruit punch, and he would be like, fudge pack. And I forgot all about that. And thanks a lot, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Interesting.
Triggering my childhood.
Honestly, every time, what's his name, Sawyer, starts yelling, the cook, I literally would almost like blank out, because I was like, what are you saying? What are these words? Because he would just go on and on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
on.
And
just
usually it
talking
was
to himself.
nonsensical.
Yeah, a lot of it was so nonsensical. And I'm like, I don't understand anything that's going on. So I totally missed Fudge Packer. But I'm surprised, because I think I would have heard that, because that is not a nice thing to say about people.
No, believe me, it's there. And as soon as he said it, because when we were a kid,
Kevin?
I remembered Kevin, and it was this movie, and he told us about the movie, and then he just called everybody a fudge packer for like, he probably still does it, but that was his catchphrase for the longest
That's
time.
amazing.
Dick.
Oh.
While
Kevin.
While she's about to leave for the night, Stretch is confronted by Chop Top before being attacked by Leatherface. Yeah, because LG finally works up the courage, by the look of things, to ask Stretch out on a date.
Mm-hmm.
He leaves, she's working, Chop Top is downstairs, and he was a creepy character.
Uh-huh.
He was more effective than the hitchhiker in the original.
Correct.
But that's the creepiest thing about this movie is Chop Top.
Yeah, like, as a woman, he is one man that I would never want to be alone with. Ever. Like, he gives off the creep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Huge. Oh, where is it here? And so, and then she goes up, Leatherface chases, she hides behind. Luckily, they had that big, giant steel door.
Yes. Super helpful.
And it was a very weird scene. So, and he's trying to get through the steel door. Finally, he says, fuck it, and goes through the wall. LG comes back, sees Chop Top, says, what the fuck are you doing? And Chop Top attacks him. And then Leatherface goes after Caroline. And this is where we get all that sexual.
That weird. And I was like,
sexual.
I was so uncomfortable through that entire thing. One, because Leatherface was basically fucking the ice with his chainsaw. Also, why is there an entire trough of ice with cans of drinks in it?
Yeah.
Anybody else? I was like, what the fuck? But he was like being suggestive with his chainsaw in the ice. And I was like, fucking weird. Then he starts being suggestive with his chainsaw and Stretch. And I was like, that is not going to be a pretty scene if they do that. Because he
No.
was like pointing it right at her crotch. And I was like, this is really uncomfortable. And licking his lips
Yeah.
or lip, because
Lip.
I think there was only one. And I was just like, oh God. And that was the only scene in this entire movie that made me even a little bit afraid and uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable, like that deep in your soul uncomfortable where you're like, oh no, something bad's gonna happen. Nothing bad happened.
No. I was waiting for Leatherface to be like, how are you doing?
I was waiting for some sort of like extreme violence, and then there wasn't, and I was like, oh, we're not doing that here.
No.
Leatherface has a crush.
I'm glad they didn't.
No, me too.
But the sexual tension, like, well, you could cut it, well, with a chainsaw. But it was creepy. And
He
then when
was
he
so weird.
symbolized the chainsaw as his penis and he started making those thrush,
Ye-
I like, what the hell's going on?
I was so confused. I was like, is this supposed to make me scared? Is this supposed to make me hot? Or is this supposed to make me laugh? I don't know.
Yeah, it was
I
creepy.
don't want to do any of those things.
Yeah, I'll admit, when he was doing the thrusting motions, I laughed. It was like a what the fuck kind of laugh.
Yeah. It wasn't
But,
oh, that's funny. It's
no, it
more
was
of
like,
a what who made this choice?
I'm looking around going, what is going on?
We're trying to figure out the story meeting.
But I forgot about it, and yeah, it was.
Yeah.
If this movie, if anything, is very memorable. Well, I can't say that because I didn't remember a lot of this movie, but I'm gonna
I
remember a lot
blocked
of
it
it
out.
now.
I totally blocked it out, but I was getting flashes of stuff where I was like, "Oh my god, I remember this scene. Oh my god, I remember this scene."
Yeah,
And
I
then
got a
some of
lot of
the
that
scenes
too.
I was like, "I did not know this was going to happen." It was a lot.
Yeah. So Chop Top brutally bludgeons LG with a hammer. Yeah, that was gross. Again, this was not creepy like the first one, but it was gross.
It
was
but
gory.
it was bloody, but it wasn't gory.
Yeah.
Because they don't actually crack open his head.
No.
So I was like, I'm like, if you hit somebody very hard with a hammer in the head, you're going to get more than just liquidy blood.
Yeah, something's going to crack, and yeah.
Something's going to crack. You're going to get some brain matter, like, because he was going to town. So while the scene was exceptionally violent and it was very bloody, it wasn't actually gory.
No.
And
Nope.
I was like, they cheaped out on that. Give me something. Give me a small prosthetic. Give me some makeup. Give me something.
Yeah, because they didn't cheap
his
out
head
on
was-
a bunch
Yeah.
of the scenes coming up.
A lot of the scenes coming up, they went full gross. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. I respect it. But this one, I was like, man, you're not, his head looks perfectly fine. It's just partially painted red.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was disappointing.
Yeah, I got a grisly flashback
Yes.
when the guy got mauled by the bear, but it was just like
Yes.
red paint on his face.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Leatherface corners Stretch and is about to kill her, but she charms him into sparing her. Oh, we got ahead of ourselves here. No problem. Leatherface returns to Chop Top and leads him to believe that he has killed Stretch. Yeah, so he didn't want to kill her.
Little crush.
Plot hole, they take LG for meat. Why not Stretch? Maybe because she was skinny? I don't know.
I think there was mention of coming back for her.
Okay.
But then it turns into a plot hole because nobody ever goes back for her.
No. As they take LG to their home, they are followed by Stretch, who ends up trapped inside the Sawyer subterranean lair located in an abandoned amusement park and decorated with human bones, multicolored lights, and carnival remnants. She is like, I can't let them get away. I can't let them away. And I'm sitting there going, sure you can, bitch. It's easy. They
Right?
drive off and you don't fucking follow them. Like, what are you doing?
Or crazy,
Ah.
I know. Try to call Lefty or the
Lefty?
police.
Or the police.
Someone.
Because I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do when you get there? Exactly what she does do. She gets all bloody and in these predicaments. Great for the
Yeah.
viewer.
I mean, yeah. She
Makes
screams
no
a lot.
sense though. And screams a lot. Like a lot.
A lot.
I started cheering for Leatherface. Like, will you fucking kill her, please? I had to actually turn it down because I was watching it with the big speaker and everything, and it was like really, really loud. Her screams. I had to turn it down and then turn it up when they were talking.
She is an incredible screamer. I will give her that. Like, she gives good blood curdling screams. Like, there's fear in her screams. However, there were just too many of them. Like, it was constant screaming. And I'm like, I feel like if I was being held by weird cannibalistic freaks, I probably wouldn't spend the entire time just shrieking.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had it happen to me, so I can't say for sure. But I feel like that's the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, but going after them made no sense. But I get it. Allows the movie to continue, not end.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, if I was being chased by Leatherface and then I seduced him by letting him touch my inner thigh and give him come hither eyes, biting my lip as he's revving his chainsaw, and he let me live, I'd be like, phew, well, that's that. Sorry, LG. Sucks to be you. This broad goes all Nancy Drew and then is surprised and horrified as she finds herself in a really bad situation. I don't know how chicks survive 95% of all the horror movies. It's amazing.
Because the majority of them are written by men, so they have to have the one semi-virginal woman to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Stretch was virginal though. Maybe.
No, but in this movie she was.
Yeah. Yeah. Lefty, who has been following their car all along, arrives equipped with chainsaws and proceeds to vandalize the lair before finding Franklin's remains. Yeah, I like how she's like, "Where were you?" And he's like, "I'm sorry, I used you." At least he admitted it.
He straight up admitted it. And I was like,
I used you,
dude.
I'm like, that's cold, Lefty.
Like, he
that's
could still use
cold.
her. That's fine. But do something when she's being attacked. Like, be parked outside.
Yeah.
Like, go in and help her out.
Yeah, because he had obviously no plan on saving her. She was just alive because of Leatherface.
He was
fine with her. Yeah, he was gonna let her die and then follow them to the lair. Yeah.
But also
I'm sorry, sweetheart. I used you.
Once he gets there and he opens up the back of his station wagon and he grabs his chainsaws.
Yeah, it's her.
Yeah. I love it. So he puts on his chainsaws and he straps them down and he has like holsters for two of them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, that's kind of smart, actually. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not mad.
Yeah, Lefty's prepared.
Yeah, because inevitably, whenever you go after someone with a chainsaw, it runs out of gas.
Yeah.
So he's got backups. I'm like, I respect it. I respect it.
And then he finds Franklin's remains. Meanwhile, Stretch is found by Leatherface, who puts LG's skin, face, and hat on her before tying her arms and leaving. I think that was Leatherface's way of hiding her.
Initially I thought it was hiding her, but then he dances with her.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you trying to have like matching couples' faces? Like, is that what's happening here?
And then LG wakes up and and that was really gross. Again, that's why I don't know why they didn't skip on it, because he was skinning parts of his stomach, parts of his leg, his face came off, and the fucker wakes up. He's like, oh, I have a headache. And like, yeah, more than a fucking headache, dude. And I don't even think she recognized him. Because like,
no, which is so fucking weird. You're wearing his face and his hat.
Yeah, you watched them get skinned.
You never clued in?
And he's like, oh, let's get you untied. And he unties her. And then he just dies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he also says, I love you.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a very weird movie.
So fucking weird.
Yeah. Where are we? Stretch is found by Leatherface, who puts LG skin before tying her arms and leaving. Later, a still alive LG frees Stretch before dying. Yeah, that's all they gave here. Leatherface finds Stretch and the family capture her. Yeah, because she finally gets caught. Drayton scolds Leatherface when he finds out that Stretch was not killed. They torture her at the dinner table. This was a lot like the first one.
Yeah.
But Lefty arrives and saves her. Well, they bring out Grandpa first before this happens.
Yes.
Give the story of the grandpa, and that was kind of creepy. He was kind of gross.
Close-ups of his mouth? Oh, God.
Yeah, reminds me of like Christmas dinners when they'd wheel my grandparents out and like, well, no one wants to watch them eat. They're gross.
That's terrible.
That's gonna be my 6-year-old there in like 40 years. Oh, no one wants to watch him eat. So I'm just like smiling, just happy to
100%.
Eating pudding while everyone else gets to eat turkey. So yeah, so Grandpa is trying to beat her head, and then Lefty comes in. Okay, so this just jumps to Stretch flees the grounds. So the cook gets the chainsaw in the ass.
Yes.
And that whole scene where he's down there going, oh, I got rid of my hemorrhoids and saved me a trip to the doctors. And then he's dying and he's like, oh, maybe I should just pack it in. It's a young man's game. And that was fantastic.
I was like, he's going through all the emotions.
Oh yeah, he's going through all stages of dying.
Yeah.
In like 10 minutes.
I'm like, good for you, sir.
Denial, acceptance.
But this entire sequence was
just
too fucking long.
Oh, and then while that's going on, Chop Top is chasing her. While that's going on, they're fighting with the chainsaw, Leatherface and Lefty, the chainsaw battle. Grandpa's trying to get in on it.
Yes. It's all just, I was like, there's too much.
What was that thing where he cut open and all the body parts came out? Was that the stuff they didn't use for meat, or was that their storage thing? That was a lot of gross shit. I think it was their storage thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of gross shit in this. And from the time, like everything with Stretch and the cannibal family, it was too long. It was too much. They had Grandpa drop that hammer like 12 times.
Too much.
It was too long. Her screaming at the table, too long. You know, them having their monologues. Monologues were too long. By all means, give me all of the stages of grief as you figure out that you're dying because you got chainsawed in the ass. I get that.
Yeah.
But too long. Because they'd cut away and then cut back and he's still going. And I'm like, are you just talking to yourself through this while you bleed out your ass? Like, come on, man.
And then he grabs the grenade.
Yes.
Grandpa tries to hit Lefty with the hammer, misses. Something happens to him. I can't remember. I just watched it. How's Grandpa die?
Doesn't he fall off his chair?
He falls off his chair, yeah. And Leatherface gets one chainsaw into his gut. Then he brings out the double chainsaws. And yeah, there's a whole lot going on. And she gets away. Grenade goes off. Lefty, I don't think, makes it.
We don't know if Lefty makes it, but he was down there when the grenade went off. So we're assuming no.
Yeah. Stretch flees the grounds with Chop Top chasing after her. Lefty wounds Drayton, then he and Leatherface get into a chainsaw fight in which Leatherface is fatally wounded. The dying Drayton, accepting that he and his family have lost, takes a grenade from Nubbin's corpse and frags himself. Lefty, Leatherface, and Grandpa. So they all die, according to Wikipedia. Chop Top chases Stretch to the top of the stone tower in the amusement park. Stretch grabs a chainsaw from the corpse of the family's grandmother in a shrine and fatally wounds Chop Top. Now, that was a little much because Chop Top gives her a lot of time to get up there and to get that chainsaw. And he's cutting her, but it's like he doesn't know how to kill someone. He's just
very,
bad.
very, if you look at the blood, it's a very light slash. Like I realized afterwards he was using a straight razor, but it was like, like when you cut yourself shaving. That's all it is, just a little, and it'll pass. It'll just heal over, no problem.
See, if they had him really run at her with the up, and then she just grabbed it and whipped it around and hit him in the head, and he backs up, then she started on one pull because she gives it 30, 40 pulls before it finally starts. Yeah. I guess I think they're trying
to build
tension.
Suspense. Yeah,
it just looks stupid.
No. It looks so stupid. And then my first thought
1,
is
2, 3, maybe not 30,
maybe four,
maybe 4.
but really struggle on that fourth one.
Yeah, but she
But,
was really.
She was just going over and over and over again. And he also, when they were like fighting, they're rolling around. She keeps trying to bite him in the ear. I'm like, why are you trying to nibble his ear? Because I was like, you can reach it.
Yeah.
Why are you just hovering above it? Like it was,
Yeah.
there was a lot. And then taking the thing out from the grandmother, I was like, have they regularly been filling that chainsaw with gas?
Mm,
Because wouldn't it have evaporated by now?
yeah.
Just a thought. Like that was I was like, there's gas in it? Who the fuck did that? And then there's the little thing, and I was just, it was a lot. It was a lot.
So she grabs it, wounds Chop Top, causing him to fall off the tower to his death. Stretch shouts in triumph and swings a chainsaw in the air at the top as we pan out.
Yes.
And she's doing it like a lunatic, which kind of cool and stupid at the same time. And that is our movie.
Yes. Yes.
What is your score for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
Okay.
It's a weird one to.
This is a weird movie. There is a lot in it. They decided to go in a very different direction from the original.
Oh, and how?
Oh boy, did they ever. There is a lot that people can enjoy in it, but not in a, this is a scary horror movie kind of way. There is a lot that people will hate about it. I know I definitely have my list of all the things I hate about this movie. But weirdly, I did not hate this movie as a whole. Like I was fine watching it, and the twists and turns that it took along the way surprised me constantly because I was like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Ew, that's gross. Who thought of that? So it's a weirdly entertaining movie to watch. It is not a good movie by any means, but weirdly entertaining. So I say stream it because I want every motherfucker in the world to go on this ride with me. And if you can do it with an adult beverage while you're watching this movie, by all means, because you might need it.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I think because we doing the preview and everyone basically said this is not the original. This is not the same at all. I think if I didn't know that, I would have been more disappointed. I was going in expecting something to be different. My score, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I had fun at its gore, its humor, its ridiculousness, its plot holes. It's not a game changer like the original, but it is a direct sequel. It wasn't starting over. It was trying something new. It was trying to be different. I would say, I don't know, worth a rental, a discount, but I'm genuinely interested in watching the scenes that were cut and included in some of the DVD versions of this movie that we'll get to. They apparently filmed them going on a hunt. And Tom Savini, one of the greatest practical effects wizards ever, personally made and set up all these complex kills for these scenes, and they filmed it. I want to see them. And the movie made me want to watch more Chainsaw Massacre movies. How many are there? 10? 9?
I think so, actually.
There's a few. My point is, as a horror movie, it is more than serviceable. It's not great. It's fun. It's stupid. As part of the Chainsaw timeline, which is so fucked up anyways, like it started over, and how did he survive the reboots, multiple beginnings, prequels. The last one was supposed to, I can't remember, the 2022 one. It was like a direct relation to the original, which would make Leatherface like 80 something, whatever. But this one, it's not the worst one I saw. Chainsaw Massacre movies. I say, as a casual viewer who wants to see the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, stream it. Don't pay any money, but don't skip it. Stream it. It's something you got to see. As a Chainsaw fan or a fan of someone who wants to see them all, I could see buying this as a discount for like $6.99, $7.99, Apple Prime, YouTube, or a DVD, because I would watch it again on its own merit. No. During a Chainsaw marathon or a run of Chainsaw movies, yes. But let's be clear, it is not the original. It's not like the original. It's the closest thing to having a relation to the original. But this is an 80s slasher, gory horror movie through and through. That was okay. Yeah. I don't know if I'd buy it. maybe rent it. So fucking confusing. If you're really into it, rent it. But if you love Chainsaw, you'll buy it anyway.
If
so,
you
yeah.
are a Chainsaw super fan,
Yeah, you gotta own it.
you gotta own it.
Yeah.
If you're not, if you're a real like fan of like horror movies, this is not in your collection either.
No.
If you're a fan of ridiculous, this is totally in your collection.
Yeah.
Like this is worth it.
Yeah.
Like this is something that you put on when your friends come over and you're like, guys, you will not believe this movie.
Yeah.
And then you watch it and you make fun of it.
But I can't say skip it. It's even if it's just a casual horror fan, it's worth a stream.
You know what? Even for the slow moments in it, like I still didn't hate it.
No.
Nothing
no.
made me say, I want to turn this off. This is garbage.
No.
It made me say, this is garbage. But my God, is it kind of entertaining? Why am I entertained?
Yeah. No, it's true.
God bless.
Anything you would like to add for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
No, I think we've covered it all. I think
so.
we've covered it.
Where do we stand on our rate? Because I'm like, don't skip it. Stream it if you're a casual horror fan. Rent it if you like the Chainsaw Massacres. If you're a diehard, but I know this sounds like you could say this for every movie, but this movie's so weird.
No, this movie is weird, and that's why I gave it like a straight stream it. Like there were no conditions on it. I think everybody should watch this, and we should all commiserate.
Yeah,
because this was a fucking weird movie, and weirdly, it wasn't like it's terrible, but not in an I hate this movie and I never want to see it again kind of way. It was more in a this is terrible. Who made these choices? Why would they do that? Like you're kind of fascinated by the movie. So you stay in it because you're like, the fuck are they going to do next? This is also a great movie to have your friends over, maybe have a couple drinks, watch it and just talk about it through the movie, after the movie. It's perfect for that. But it's one of those movies where you're like, I don't fully understand it and I don't know if I ever will, but I want everybody else to be just as confused as I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say that I'll say rent it at a discount as an actual, but I really do want to see The Hunt. I want to see those Tom Savini effects. I want to see that. So I'm going to have to, so I might, I don't want to pay $30 just to see it though. There is a documentary. Maybe it's in the documentary.
Maybe.
Chainsaw Massacre documentary.
Maybe they managed to put some of those scenes in there. Be like, this is what you missed out on.
But it did make me really want to see more Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies.
Yeah. I want to see all of where they go with this. And why.
Which
That's
one?
my big question. I want to see all of where, like every single movie. You just want to see how they made these choices.
Yeah. Because it's some of them are so bad, some of them are good, some of them none are as good as the first one.
No. The first one is a classic for a reason.
Yeah. But I remember liking the 2013 one, the 3D one. With what's her name?
I've seen the
Alexandra Daddario.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I remember liking that. Apparently I'm wrong because it's got a really bad Rotten Tomato score.
we can watch it if you like.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know if I hated any of them. The Next Generation is probably the worst, but even there, I'm still like, I can't believe Matthew McConaughey and Renée Zellweger are in this thing. Oh my God, it's so bad.
It's terrible.
So yeah, like we said, so we got a stream it and a rent it at a discount. It's not great. It's not bad.
No.
It's very weird.
I wouldn't pay money for this movie unless it was like at like a review theater and they were having like a special night for it and encourage you to dress up or what. I'd pay money for that. But like if it's just like a Friday night, I am not paying money for this. Not a chance in hell. However, if it's streaming, by all means, everybody click on it, watch it, and spend your night confused.
Well, there we have it. Try to stream Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 or rent it at a discount. Look for that Canon documentary, I Am.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And until the next movie we remember liking.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking.